Tonight's episode turns a funeral home into a pressure cooker, where every cruelty, every lie, and every stolen gold tooth starts counting down to the moment the dead demand their reckoning. How many secrets can you hide in a funeral home before one of them crawls back upstairs looking for you? Greetings, ghouls, and welcome to another dive into horror television. Tonight we're covering a beloved episode of Tales from the Crypt titled Fitting Punishment. We open to the Thornberry funeral home, and we meet Uncle Ezra, played by Moses Gunn, meeting his nephew Bobby, played by John Clare. Ezra is busy closing down the funeral home when he learns that Bobby is newly orphaned and Ezra is his only living kin. Ezra is delighted to find out his sister's dead, but appalled that Bobby came to live with him. Ezra is a penny pincher who loathes the idea of having another mouth to feed. Bobby looks strong enough to be his workhorse, so he accepts his new circumstance. We learn quickly that Ezra isn't afraid of stealing gold teeth from the dead. He plans to make Bobby sleep on a hard examining table like the ones dead bodies go on. Bobby is a good kid for putting up with this tough treatment from his uncle. He's going to have to learn the ropes of the family business. But Bobby feels sick when his uncle starts draining the blood from a corpse. We learn Ezra cuts corners here too. He refuses to use embalming fluid, which is the industry standard. Instead, he uses tap water. Ezra is miserable to deal with, and we feel bad for Bobby as he's smacked for no good reason. We find out that Ezra imports caskets from Taiwan, even though they're 6 inches shorter than domestic ones. And of course, he still charges full price for them. Ezra can't stop smacking his nephew. He has no remorse, just fury. Bobby measures a dead body so Ezra can order the casket. When the father of the deceased comes in and sees the wrong casket, Ezra becomes furious. The casket was supposed to be pine, not oak. Unbelievably, Ezra beats his nephew with a crowbar for the mistake. His injuries are so grave that he'll never be able to walk again. Later, Bobby comes to Ezra to ask him where his Air Jordans are. His horrid uncle sold them to pay for medical expenses. Furious, Bobby threatens to call the sheriff on his uncle. This incident gives Ezra a funny idea. Maybe he should finish what he started. That night, Bobby is walking up a flight of stairs with his crutches. When he gets to the top, his no-good uncle throws a basketball at him, causing him to fall backwards and down the stairs. Ezra wastes no time draining the blood and using water to embalm him. He realizes he can use the pine casket that was accidentally ordered. He just has to cut off his nephew's legs so he can fit. So he cuts them with the saw. At the sparsely attended funeral, others notice the casket is too short for a boy so tall. They know that Bobby didn't die in an accident. They just can't prove it. Ezra falls asleep at his desk one night and wakes up to a knock at the front door. No one is there. Then he hears water dripping, so he goes downstairs to turn the faucet off. It doesn't stop the dripping, and you know that aggravates him. He goes upstairs and there's a strange light on, even though he always turns them off promptly. He hears another knock and goes to investigate. The basketball he killed Bobby with comes falling down the stairs. A ghost pushes him down the stairs and he falls hard. He can't feel his legs. We see Bobby's feet walking down the stairs towards him. Then Bobby comes in the other door with a crowbar. He says blood is thicker than water before beating his uncle to death. Ezra constantly quotes the Bible to justify cruelty and cheapness. His use of scripture is never spiritual, it's strategic. Religion is used as a shield, as a justification, and as a threat. Normally, authentic faith is inward, challenging, and humbling. Ezra's faith is none of these things. There's a difference between being religious and performing religiosity. For Ezra, faith is not a relationship with the divine. It's a social performance that disguises the rot underneath. This episode suggests that it's not religion that's scary, it's religion without empathy. Stripped of compassion, spirituality becomes authoritarian, punitive, and self-serving. Funeral homes are supposed to be sacred places where dignity is granted to the dead. Yet Ezra's business model is built on fraud, violence, and convenience. The horror emerges from a simple truth. Institutions meant to protect the vulnerable can become the easiest places to harm them. Ezra is the nightmare version of a caregiver. Bobby returning from the dead symbolizes suppressed trauma resurfacing and the moral invoice coming due. You can bury the body, but you can't bury what you did to it. This episode isn't just about an abusive uncle or a haunted funeral home. It's about how poverty distorts human relationships and turns everyday life into a battlefield of scarcity. The story uses horror to show that financial desperation actively shapes cruelty, enables exploitation, and erodes moral boundaries. Financial scarcity collapses the emotional world into a purely transactional one. In Ezra's worldview, people are either assets or liabilities. The most disturbing idea here is that the logic of scarcity makes cruelty appear rational. If you view life as a competition for limited resources, children become burdens, kindness becomes a luxury, and empathy becomes inefficient. The horror here is systemic, not just supernatural. Moses Gunn, who played Ezra, really shined in this role. He was so believable and cold. The director was Jack Shoulder, whom I love since he directed Nightmare on Elm Street 2, the best queer-coded horror film. There were 3 writers, 2 of them are obscure and didn't do much else, but Don Mancini co-wrote this, and he's the mastermind behind Child's Play and the Chucky movies and TV shows. I'll rate this episode an 8.5 out of 10 for Tales from the Crypt. It's a strong entry, but they made Ezra too ham-fistedly mean-spirited for me. I needed something a bit more from that character. Let me know your thoughts down below, and remember to be well and stay spooky.